Good evening, good people, and welcome back to The Table on Air, your primary source for learning about what's new, what's happening, and what's what in Black LGBTQ culture. I'm your host, Darius Caffey, and I thank you for showing up to this space. We're about to get real, a little deep, and maybe a little teary, but we're going to have some fun, so stick around for the ride. Joining me for this week's main event is the first openly gay senator in the state of Illinois, but first, let's dive into the latest and greatest in this week's Black Report. All right, so I've been reading this book, as I usually am, called Rest is Resistance by Trisha Hersey, a Black woman from Chicago, period. And something she wrote and it stuck with me. She said that rest uplifts and boosts our spirit, allowing us to know that we are enough and that the care of our souls deserves a role in our healing plan. The care of our souls deserve a role in our healing plan. Whew, that last part got me. Now understand why this hit home for me. As I've been leaning into this new season of my life, I've had to realize what things I needed to start changing for the better. Or better yet, what things life was forcing me to change. When they say if you don't pick a day to rest, your body will pick it for you, they really meant it because that was what began to happen to me. I'm a natural busybody who loves to be involved in different things, connect with people, and celebrate stuff. But I can't do that all the time, especially as an introvert extrovert, if you know, you know. And I had to realize it. I had reached a point where I felt like a hamster running on a wheel, burning myself out, trying to juggle all the things, family and friends, jobs, hobbies, self-care, and all the others in between that I was missing when I decided that my body had had enough. I needed to rest, family. I needed a break from doing all of the things to better focus on my spirit and realize that even when I'm not doing everything, I'm still enough. I can take a break and I do deserve it. I'm not saying it's easy to do because the Lord knows I'm still trying, but that's what I've been prioritizing in my life. Balance and rest, and learning when to be still. Which is a hard lesson to catch, but stories like those of farmers Donna Deere and Paulette Green continue to show me just how important it can be. In the upcoming short film documentary, The Aunties from the North Star to the Poplar, which was co-directed by their nieces, Janine and Charlene, they show us how finding a place to rest helped them protect the history of their ancestors. The queer couple recounts the history of how they've been able to preserve Mount Pleasant Acres Farms, the land they own, which was once used as a prayer site for runaway slaves on the Underground Railroad. Shout out my girl Harriet. Stories like this show us how important it is sometimes to take that moment, just explore the life in it, using where we are now to dream and plan for where we want to be. In those moments of rest, it's easier for us to connect with not just ourselves, but with the people around us too. They're part of this healing journey with us, and it's time to start showing them that they too are enough and deserve to be protected. That's the wrap on our Black Report with the QUE. And until next week, keep finding ways to celebrate yourself. Joining me for this week's main event segment, we have the first openly gay senator to serve in the Illinois Senate, the first Black man to politically represent the 7th District of Chicago, CEO of Blue Sky Strategies, former Deputy Commissioner for the Chicago Mayor's Office, former Deputy Director for the Obama Foundation, and much, much more. Senator Mike Simmons, welcome to the table.
Thank you for having me back.
No problem. I'm glad that we were able to get you here to be able to touch more on your story from when you first graced us with your presence here on CAN TV, and to learn more about the things that you're continuing to do, the things that you're passionate about, and the ways that we can continue to build this community and support everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that we get to share space here today. Again, to be able to learn more about all the ways that you're, continuing to lean into Chicago and the community, and really just learn more about our people. So hopefully what we have planned will give the people a little bit more insight into that, and hopefully continue to build those connections that we're constantly, sharing out with folks and continuously cultivating in all spaces around us.
I love it. Let's go.
I'm gonna jump right into it because I know the people are ready, as always.
Always.
So, since the last time that you've been here on this stage with CAN TV, how has life changed for you? What are some of the pivotal moments in your life that has came up, since that last conversation?
Well, first of all, Darius, thank you for having me on this show. I am so happy to see us creating intentional spaces for Black LGBTQ plus people. It is about time.
Yes, it is.
Our community has always been there, and we have always been creative and always have been at the forefront of the struggle. So I love seeing this space. I really do. Last time I was here was in, I believe, November of 2022. I was just still in my first term, kind of coming up on the end of my first term.
Okay.
And
you're in a whole new stage now.
Right, yeah. I got reelected and went into my second term. I took office January 2023. And I have to say that what's changed for me is there's something about this session that I just completed where I felt like I really stretched myself and really pushed myself towards excellence. And it's not that I wasn't doing that before, but there was more of a less complaining, more thinking about my mom, who I lost 3 years ago, and kind of what she would want to see me doing it as a state senator for the district that we grew up in,
right.
Where she struggled to raise 2 children by herself and ran a salon and never complained, where my dad migrated from Ethiopia 30-something years ago. The experiences that I had as an LGBTQ youth that was bullied in school as a 12-year-old. And I hit the ground running in January and somehow passed 23 bills, which is a record.
Yeah.
And they were
exciting.
hard. Yeah, it was so exciting. Legislation that outlaws book banning in Illinois with specific protections for Black and LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
We wrote that into the legislation, which, people told us we shouldn't do.
It was powerful.
Yeah. And that a year ago, I think the seed was there, but I feel like I have really developed in the last year.
Yeah, and that's a lot of growth to happen from November. We're not even a year from that. We are a few months shy of it, and like you said, 23 bills like that. For those that understand the political process or even kind of what that experience looked like, how hard it is. How difficult it is to not just have that implemented, but just have those conversations. So I thank you for bringing this up and for continuously, championing our people to make sure that we're not only supported physically in person, but that we're also supported politically as well, throughout regulations and laws to protect us as people.
Right.
Because that's something that a lot of people don't understand is how a lot of these bills continue to protect our well-being as people. So I'm glad that we're able to have this conversation today and learn more about that, because I think it's impactful and powerful.
Absolutely.
For people to see that, hear these conversations and understand why, it's important for us. So can you elaborate on that a little bit more on your intention behind, implementing these bills and what that means for our future now?
Yeah. So the book banning legislation, is the first time in our country where someone has introduced legislation that, first of all, outlaws book banning, that has specific protections for Black people, LGBTQ people, books about sexual health, books about reproductive rights, books about people of certain religious faiths, Islamic and Judaic faith. All of these are the people that have been targeted in book bans in surrounding states.
Right.
And so what I did is got ahead of that and said, okay, in Illinois, we have to write these protections in the law. We can't have a colorblind approach to this debate because we know that has always spelled disaster for all of those above communities.
Yep.
And so I knew that was going to be a hard bill. I got it out on February 9th, passed it out of the Senate in April. And it was a fight. People really pushed back on that. They thought that those protections would turn off some of the more conservative members of the body. And I said, well, this is history repeating itself, right? I can't throw my community under the bus. I can't throw myself and my own family under the bus.
Yeah, wouldn't feel right about it.
And then wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror in the morning. And so, all of this is happening in the same year. You asked what changed since the last time I was here. The other thing that has changed that shapes this work is affirmative action has been gutted by the Supreme Court.
Yes, it has. A lot of craziness has been happening.
A lot of crazy stuff, right? A decision that came a day after that, which makes it possible for other states to deny, businesses in other states to deny serving me and my partner because we're LGBTQ. That's like 1950s era discrimination.
We're going back.
We're going backwards like warp speed.
Yeah.
And so, when I took office 2.5 years ago, I didn't see this coming. Right. I mean, and people were still thinking, oh, LGBTQ rights, we have same-sex marriage now, everything's fine. And we knew, people in queer communities of color knew that was never the case because we have so much other stuff that we struggle with. Yeah. And then when all this happened, I mean, it just, what better position for me to be in than to be an Illinois state senator right now?
Yeah, I agree. So why this path of public policy? Why 2 years ago did you embark on the journey that you're on now? And even before then, when you chose to study this, what was that in you that enacted that thought of, I feel that I need to do this, that this is my calling?
Yep. I grew up on the far north side of Chicago. And by the way, for your viewers, the district that I represent as a state senator covers the Chicago neighborhoods, all or part of Wrigleyville, Uptown, Edgewater, Rogers Park, West Ridge, Lincoln Square, North Center, Andersonville, and Ravenswood.
So it's a lot of territory.
It's a lot of areas, very diverse.
Yes,
if you live in those areas, I'm more than likely your state senator. And we've never had LGBTQ representation in the state senate before, from any district, from the border with Wisconsin to the state borders with Kentucky. That's never happened. So honored to be the first, hope I won't be the last.
Yeah, thank you for your bravery.
Oh yeah.
It takes a lot to get up there on that stage and do that.
It does. And so that's important. But I would say that representation for me is so powerful and important. Mm-hmm. And you need people in these positions who are not reading theory and data about what's going on with all these communities that I'm representing. We need people that actually understand those experiences from a lived experience, because they've been through it. They know what it's like to not be able to donate blood because they were gay as recently as 2007. Mm-hmm. They know what it's like to walk into a nightclub and fear that you might be shot because you're a gay person. They know what it's like to be a senior citizen and be a immigrant or refugee queer person from South America and be trying to reunite with their partner, right? These are all battles that I want people fighting for public policy who understand exactly what that feels like. Yeah. Because you have to understand how painful it is to be able to fight tooth and nail the way I had to fight on book banning legislation to be able to actually do it and stay sane. Mm-hmm. If you don't understand this stuff, I think you would just kind of settle or compromise at some point. And we've unfortunately seen that for decades. Mm-hmm. We've seen mediocre leadership. We've seen people that get to a point and then sell us up the river. And I can't leave that with the next generation.
Yeah, I agree. Somebody has to be the one to do it. And I totally understand. That's a part of the reason why I went and got my master's in public affairs, to be able to have some kind of influence or insight into that change. You mentioned it earlier. I think that the biggest thing about, that kind of process is people don't understand it. They don't know the impact of what these bills can do for our future, not just for this current moment. So I'm glad that there is someone, advocating for us, for our rights and for our voice in these spaces that we're not in, to be able to continue to let people know who we are and the things that we're able to do, because we're doing a lot of great things. Yep. It's time for people to know that and to respect it. And I think that comes with them understanding that from a larger scale as well.
Right. And our humanity. Yeah. Respecting our humanity. Yeah. Which is such a basic ask. It's not that much to ask for.
It's not.
To just respect me and my community's basic humanity. That's all I want.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm gonna switch a little bit. I'm gonna still kind of feed into what our needs are, which leads me to asking, why the entrepreneurship journey? Blue Sky Strategies, you are the founder, CEO of your organization, which is a consulting policy firm. Right. Why did you feel the need to open this in addition to the things that you were already doing?
For a lot of the similar reasons that propelled me to run for office. So I started my company, Blue Sky Strategies, in 2017. Largely based off the feeling that I could no longer work inside of four walls for mediocre leadership. Yep. I just couldn't. I could not. Life is too short. And I felt like I had the competence, the expertise. Both of my parents were small business owners, right? My mother opened and ran a salon for 25 years in Rogers Park, which was very successful.
The influence.
While raising kids, my dad came over as an asylum seeker from Ethiopia and started the Wild Hair in Lakeview, which is, nationally renowned reggae club that, set the culture in Chicago for.
Yeah, you came from greatness.
Those are my parents.
A lot of big shoes to step in.
Right.
I'm Govalta, host of the podcast 3 Questions With, the public affairs program elevating the voices and visibility of matters most important to the Hispanic Latino community by speaking with community and industry thought leaders on the social determinants of health and democracy. Join us Wednesdays at 7:30 in the evening via Channel 19, streaming on cantv.org and the CanTV Plus app.
And I don't come from fancy people. Their parents were not. We're not from some long line of corporate people. There are no political people in my family. And so that was inspiring to me. And I started my company so that I could shape a business product that would be useful for clients and others out there that are interested in equitable urban planning, or interested in how you actually go about shaping anti-racist public policy, and how you create these initiatives in a way that are fair and actually produce justice for communities. So that was just such a fun run, and I stopped running my company when I became state senator. Okay. So I'm a full-time legislator now, but for 3+ years I ran my company, and it was a pivotal point in my life.
How pivotal?
I think it really accentuated the part of me that is fiercely independent, just like both of my parents, especially my mom. My mom would have told you if she was still here, she'd say she can't work for anybody. Yeah. She was not going to clock in and report to somebody that wasn't worth her time.
She transferred that energy onto you.
She really did. And what was crazy, what was amazing about my mother, her name was Ramona, is that the gift that she gave me and my sister, she didn't prescribe what we would do with our lives. She was just as fine with us being, state senator as if I were to pivot and become a photographer. Yep. She would be just as fine with me serving tables as she would be with me owning a restaurant if I was happy and felt like there was agency in my work and that people around me respected what I was doing. That's all she wanted for her children. And that's again, just this basic, like, respecting humanity and self-respect that even you talked about earlier. It really resonates with me.
Yeah. And people don't get that. I mean, even from their families, they don't get that kind of love or support to just support and champion, who they are, what they want to do, regardless of what the statistics are, regardless of what expectations are, that just holistically support that being. Right. So I'm glad that you were able to receive that, and that they poured that into you so that you can continue to pour that out into the rest of the community. So I'm gonna ask, what has the journey of becoming Mike Simmons been like for you up until this point? Because you have some great role models, to be able to pour into you. You've been able to do a lot of great things in the community, but personally, what has that felt like?
Yeah, it's an ongoing journey. I feel like we're never quite finished.
Never.
And
always learning.
We're always learning.
Growing.
I sat down yesterday and spent two hours on Sunday reflecting on the last few weeks of my life where I was sick with COVID in August. Talked about rest will make you rest. It put me down.
It will.
And I feel like I really once I recovered, the gratitude I felt for just feeling healthy and being able to get up and move about and not feel sick was profound. And it's really, I think, kind of hit reset on just like my wellness, like my outlook, my ability to take a break during the day. And that's part of my ongoing journey in terms of my independence, in terms of my love of justice, my love of Black people, my love of queer communities, my love of all humanity, and fighting for them in this role. And I'm really honored to occupy, and like so few people will get a chance to hold.
Yeah, they really do. And even to be able to accomplish the things that you've accomplished, or even not even going to accomplishments, but just being able to experience things. I think having the access to experience so many different opportunities cultivates, who we become as people. So all these different shared experiences, the ins and outs of the things that we do, whether that's job, family, relationships, it all bleeds into, who we become as people. So you mentioned this a little bit ago about, owning our identity of being Black and being queer and showing up in these spaces. So I want to ask, what does that mean for you? How has Black queerness continued to show up in your life and in the things that you continue to do?
Such a good question. I think for me, part of it is just an ongoing journey, right? I think we all are constantly getting to know ourselves throughout our lives based on who's around us and the challenges and struggles that come our way. That's how we really kind of find out who we are.
What you can take as a person.
And what you see yourself doing in response, right? When I got those bills passed this session, I almost didn't recognize my own work. And part of it is because it wasn't just about me. It was just being blessed with a great staff. It was having a really supportive partner who puts up with so much to have
Hey, give it up for the great partners.
The great partners it's impossible to do this work if you don't have a village around you. Yeah. And that allows me to navigate this work. Having my mother, even though she's physically absent, is very much still here in everything I do. Every day when the day ends, I know my mother was with me throughout all the challenges I navigated. I can still even hear her coaching me through certain things throughout the day. And my mother was like such a loving, soft-spoken, gives people the benefit of the doubt, not into politics, but has such a keen sense of what was right and wrong, really helps me to learn more about who I am and who I was sent in this world to be by following that example. And we see this with so many Black queer people. We see this with somebody, James Baldwin, right, who had to leave the country to kind of fully emanate what he was brought into this world to do. We see this with just a whole host of Black creatives across all the different arts who have just frankly made America what it is, and at just about every sphere.
And we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep making history.
I gotta also, real quick before we wrap up, for any of your viewers that want to check out my website, I'm at mikesimmons.org, and I'm on social media, at Senator Mike Simmons on Instagram, Senator Mike Simmons on Facebook, and Mike Simmons Sci on Twitter.
Thank you. Y'all know where to find them. And we're not done. We're taking a quick break. We're gonna switch to a game in a minute, which is called Open Space. But for now, the people will be ready. And now for Open Space, an opportunity for us to let go, be free, and just live. Stick around for the vibes. So, Senator, thank you for joining us again for our special game called Let's Get Cozy. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, but just feel free to answer them to the best of your ability.
Okay.
They're really, again, just to kind of get to know you a little bit more, help our people understand who you are, and for them to lean a little bit more into your life.
Okay, cool.
So the first question is, what's something in your closet that makes you feel the most cozy?
Ooh, so I have a blanket that my cousin gave me from Ethiopia. When I first met her, we were both in our late 20s, and she does not speak English. And she made a blanket for me that has Ethiopian text on it.
Wow.
And even though we couldn't talk, that touched me so much. And whenever I'm really stressed out, I kind of lay with it.
It's like comfort.
It is,
Do you feel that when you put it on?
Yep, feels like I'm back in Ethiopia again.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful feeling.
Yep.
And a beautiful gift.
It was such a beautiful gift.
Shout out to the cousins that we didn't even know that we had. And blessing us with these things.
Yep, yep.
I love that. What's something in your closet that makes you feel confident?
Oh, I got a pair of red sneakers that I bought 5 years ago, and I thought I wasn't gonna like them. And my partner was like, "Those look really good on you."
Okay.
And so I wear them like on very special occasions. Like we had a sneaker day in the Illinois Senate last year, and when I walked out on the floor with my sneakers, I had only wore 3 times. Like I felt very special.
Did everybody give you compliments?
Oh yeah.
Good, as they
Why'd you
should.
just get those shoes?
Yeah.
I've been having these shoes.
That's why you gotta keep them fresh in the box so people are always surprised.
Right.
Like, I didn't know you had that. Yeah, they 5 years old.
Now the secret's out there.
Yeah. Don't tell nobody else.
Right, I know.
All right, where do you feel the most comfortable?
I think I feel the most comfortable on my bike. I bike a lot, and when I'm on my bike, I just feel free.
Really?
Yep, I feel free, and I feel like I'm giving my body what it needs, which is a good workout.
Do you enjoy physical activity? I'm not a big biker.
I do. I'm really kinetic.
Okay.
I don't like to sit still.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I started my own company too, is I was like, I can't just sit at the desk all day long. Yep. It's like literally not how my brain is wired. So when I'm on my bike, I can move. I walk a lot too.
Gotcha.
Miles every day.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, well, somebody got to get the word out there.
Yeah.
I hear that. Where do you feel the most confident? Is it on your bike?
You know, I feel really confident in politics. I feel really confident in the Illinois Senate. I have a sense at being the first openly gay person elected to Illinois Senate, and only the third openly gay Black person elected to a state Senate in the country. All of America.
Speak it. We need to see this representation.
Right. It's 2023, and I'm number 3.
Yeah.
And we've had maybe 2 or 3 since then. I think for me, when I walk onto the floor of the Senate and when I'm doing my official role, I feel very confident because I know I'm supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. I know I was supposed to be there a long time ago. Yeah. I know that our ancestors, my ancestors, your ancestors, paid a deep price long ago so that I could occupy this kind of role.
It was waiting on you.
Right. It's waiting on me. It's waiting on our generation.
Yeah.
And so no one can take it away from me.
Yeah.
That feeling.
And they can't.
Nope.
No matter how hard they try. You deserve to be there.
Yeah.
That was a word there. You deserve to be there. I think I said that for myself too. So thank you for letting me say that.
Yeah, of course. That's a communal statement.
It is.
Yep.
It is. You deserve to be there.
Right. You
Whatever it
deserve to be
is.
there. We deserve to be in these spaces.
We do. Here at the table.
Right.
Who makes you feel the most cozy or comfortable?
Oh, my dog Sasha. Yep.
How old or how long you have the dog?
She's 8. She's
Okay.
a little Belgian Malinois mix. And she was actually my mom's dog. And when my mom passed away, I took Sasha. She already knew who I was.
Yeah.
And she's just funny.
The dog?
Yeah, she's funny. Like, she has a way of looking at me sometimes that's so communicative.
Yeah.
Like today, I was on the phone and she was looking at me, and then she like looks at the cabinet as if to say, "Get my toy out of the cabinet." And those moments just crack me up.
Dogs have subliminal ways of telling you exactly what they need
Right.
without saying anything.
Yep.
And only dogs.
Right.
Not cats, not birds or gerbils, only dogs.
Right. I think they think they're one of us.
I think they do, the way they be sitting at these tables. And yeah, dogs are interesting species.
Yep.
Who makes you feel the most confident?
My circle of friends, that village. My partner, beyond anybody, helps me to feel confident when my confidence is shaky. Reminds me of what I stand for. Reminds me of where I come from. And he's been doing that for me even before I was a state senator. So him definitely, and then my extended village of friends and acquaintances.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you have that, and that those are the people that, one, you continue to surround yourself around, but that they continue to surround you with love. So I'm really glad that you have that it's pouring into you, and that you are able to pour into us, into this space, into hopefully the rest of Chicago. I know you're doing your things in the streets with the people, pouring that love out and sharing out different resources for them. So thank you again, Senator Simmons, for doing that for us and being that light that we need to see in this community, because it really is inspirational.
Absolutely. Thank you for just naming that for me.
Yeah, no problem. Somebody got to name it. Somebody got to tell you that you're doing the right thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Keep doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's the end of our night together, Chicago. But we'll be back with more community building soon. We hope that what we shared tonight resonates with you in a way to better inform the things you're experiencing now and the things that you'll grow through. Remember, you're doing the best you can with who you are at this moment. If you want to stay up to date on all the things we're doing, go follow us on Instagram at CanTV Chicago and Closet Unlocked. We'll be back next week with more Black queer folks being represented at the table. But until then, thanks for watching.